Hello, everyone. This is the third video in the Salon Ultimate Remote Working series. And today I am here with Sergey Vinogradov. He is the chief engineer at Salon Ultimate, and we're going to be discussing productivity and time management when working remotely. From there, I'm going to ask him a few questions, and hopefully he will share some great tips for new employees on how to maximize their time when working remotely. But before we get into those questions, thank you so much, Sergey, for being here. Would you please introduce yourself and just give us a brief recap of your experience working remote?
Okay, no problem. So, hi everyone, and let me quickly introduce myself. So, my name is Sergey Vinogradov. I'm working here for a little bit more than 3 years, but actually, maybe even around four. Depends how you count, but it's quite a long tenure, I would say. So, I'm really proud to be here and work with all of you guys. Uh, I am here on a position of chief engineer, but I've tried multiple things. I tried building software. I've tried working on DevOps and many things that we use right now for deployment, something to production or to various staging environments. It was either created by me or together with me. So really proud that we have that. It's a big shift for the company. Prior to joining this awesome company, I worked for other big and small companies, and that was, oh my God, for around 12 years now. So yeah, altogether it's around 16 years experience in professional IT for me. Some of the big companies that I worked for before are Microsoft, Amazon, and Nvidia, and there were a couple small ones. And uh, Also, just to really tell you that it's not uncommon to shift positions. So I used to be a QA, even a support person. I supported Unix mail servers back in time. And also, I developed things on desktop end, on system level, on web, mostly backend, and a little bit on front end. But then I shifted more to DevOps and leading positions, and now I'm a chief engineer. So that's quickly about me.
That's great. So you've obviously had tons of experience. Was this your first time working remote, or have you had positions prior?
No, it's the first time.
First time working remote. So that was definitely a huge shift, I'm guessing, from being in the office. Could you tell us what would you say is the biggest difference between working in an office and then doing your job now in this remote setting?
Oh, I would say that discipline is something that really became a big challenge, and I had to quickly adjust to this new setup. And there are multiple things that you don't even know exist when you work from office. For example, your family is always with you, and
That's
you have
true.
to cope with that somehow. So you may be on the meeting, and then some kids, toddlers may walk or crawl into the room. They will shout or do whatever they want, bounce the balls off the walls, floors, everywhere. And you have to stay on the meeting with calm face. It's quite an interesting setup, I would say. So yeah, having the discipline was the most complicated challenge for me, because I had to really say that I am at home, but at the same time, no, I am not at home. I am working, and maybe we will see you when I have some lunch break. But right now, I'm in my virtual office.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. You kind of have to it's a mindset change too, trying to remember that, okay, I'm still at work even though I'm at home.
Yeah.
So, with all of those different things, kind of distractions and just outside forces, how do you stay organized and maintain your schedule? Are there any specific tools you use, or schedules or calendars, things like
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, I tried several things. The first thing that I tried was the productivity tool called um, Asana, and also it was a was it tomato or something technique where I had to kind of schedule a certain reminder every 30 minutes or so and
Oh,
break my work into smaller tasks by like 30 minutes. Uh, I would say nothing worked. So Asana is a great piece of software and it's very flexible, but um, it did not stick. It's a complicated shift from all of the other tools just to Asana, especially if you have some other tools as well. If you have Jira, then switching to Asana is not the easiest one. I tried Trello as well. Trello was a little bit easier for me. Yeah, and I found Trello much more visual because I basically had my board that I used to have on a physical wall. So I had the same board somewhere on a virtual workspace, and I really liked that. The thing that I also liked is a ton of plugins that you can add to Trello, and tasks could age. So if the task was for quite some time in a particular column, it would kind of decay. It would
oh,
be pale or grayish or something. So I'm old task. I'm staying here for quite some time. Do something with me. So that was interesting. And later, Trello was acquired by Atlassian by Jira head company, and some of those things they moved to Jira. So now we have that. So this decay option is now in Jira as well. You can see those real small red dots near the issues on the board, and that means how many days the task stays in this particular column. So that's a cool add-on to Jira. I started using that in Trello originally. Now it's available here as well. But I would say that what works for me right now is not Trello, is not Asana, is nothing like that. What works for me is a calendar. Um,
okay, old school.
yes, yeah, it's actually the best tool for many things. The first one, it helps me to schedule my day in advance so that I know what's ahead of me. And I would just put some big chunks of work into tomorrow or into the day after tomorrow, and they will just stay there. And when tomorrow comes, I already have my day pre-scheduled, and I can just swap things around. So that's very handy. Then I can move from day to day. If something was not accomplished in one day, I can move it to the other one. So that was also useful. And I also use Calendly for interviews, and Calendly is connected to my calendar. So if something is already blocked in my calendar for tomorrow, then Calendly will not show this as an empty slot. So that's very convenient. I will not be overbooked. So
Great.
I would say that right now it's Calendly plus Calendar, my main things for managing time.
Great. So I think those are great resources and tools. As you probably know, we also use Teams as a communication forum here at Salon Ultimate. So tell me, what has been your experience with Teams, and do you have any kind of tips or tricks on how to utilize that as well to be
Mhm.
productive and keep the communication flowing?
Oh yeah, I have quite a big number of tips over there, and I started collecting them when we were still on Slack, and some of those tips and tricks are still applicable now in Microsoft Teams reality, but some are not because Teams is a little bit different. But the main hint would be to keep things visual and visible. So if you want to tell something to someone and that is related to work, better not to use direct messages. Better to go to a common channel where other people can also see this message, and just type this there and tag a person. And if this particular person is not available, then maybe other people in this channel will be able to help you. And I prefer other people to do the same to me, because I am not always available, or I'm never available, depends on how you call it. So if I cannot answer something, then other people in the team can help. Um, and at the same time, it also serves a different purpose. If I answer something, then others also see my answer, not only the person who asked the question, but also others. And this may be a way of sharing knowledge. So no need to have I don't know, a dozen of different one-to-one direct messages.
For
Just go to
sure.
the channel, yeah, and you can see that.
That is great advice because it's so easy for information to get lost, especially online. And you can't kind of have those group huddles physically in the location anymore. So that's kind of the
Mhm.
same idea where you're letting everybody know about what's happening through that. So
Mhm.
that's great advice.
Mhm.
So I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, go, keep going.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say that it's not the silver bullet, because sometimes people start wasting too much time there, and they just shoot a message in this common thread in a particular channel, and then they wait for 5 minutes. The other person replies, then this first person also replies, and it continues forever. Maybe as soon as someone started responding to you, maybe it's faster to just call this person. Just
Mhm.
click on even hover over the icon of this person and click on this phone icon and just call this person. And then you can update the channel with whatever you came up with during those discussions. Because most probably the phone conversation will be shorter compared to this whole discussion in Teams. And some of those discussions may be also so important so that you want to keep it in some more permanent place compared to Teams. So you may even move it to our official Confluence or Wiki. It's the same name, sorry, different names for the same thing. So just document this in the Wiki, and then copy this link, put it in the channel so that everyone knows about the decision, and later on it will be discoverable using wiki search.
That's great. I'm glad you brought up that point about how it can also be a double-edged sword with the distractions of constantly seeing other people's communications. So that brings me to my next question, which is about focus. So how do you stay focused on your particular job and your work when you do have your at-home distractions, but you also have different conversations going on within the company?
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, it's I would say I got this from my attempt to deal with inbox some time ago. There were I don't know, in 2000, middle 2000s, for example 2005, 6, 7, there were popular techniques on how to handle your inbox. One of them was zero inbox, another was inbox as a task. There were multiple trendy mechanisms to handle your let's say pending tasks. And one of them was in particular useful for me. Uh, if something required my attention, I would keep this particular message in inbox unread unless it's fully resolved. So you would have like 5,000 messages, and top 50 of them would be something that you focus on right now. And some of them will be unread, some of them will be read. Those which are read, they are closed. It means that you fully answered all of the things there. If they are unread, it still means that you need to do something over there. It's kind of a checkbox or checklist. And I adopted the same technique in Teams as well. And you have notifications in Teams. And there are two types of balloons with numbers. One in activity, which means like mentions in different channels or threads or chats. And so if someone tags you somewhere, then this number will be increased in this balloon. For example, it was like 2, now it's 3 because you got one extra ping. And the other balloon is in private chats. So it would be direct messages or chats between 2, 3, 4 people. And I used that to in the same form as I used the email. If I still have something in those balloons, if it's like balloon 3 or balloon 2, balloon 1, it means that I have 3, 2, or 1 unread messages, and I would just go there and walk through them. If there is still something that I need to do, I will mark this particular item as unread, and it will increase the counter again, so that I will go back to this again.
Okay, that's a. Do you take breaks? Do you schedule your breaks, or do you kind of just get up as you feel? How do you really just hunker down if you know you have a huge deadline coming up and you have to get it done? How do you sit there and concentrate on it?
Well, it's not a big surprise, I would say. It's just go to a silent mode technique. If you really need to do something really urgent, just turn off all distractions. Turn off your Outlook, turn off Teams, or put yourself into DND mode, do not disturb, and switch off all of your iPhones and watches. There is a special mode there, which is called a theater mode on Apple Watch, for example. It means that it will not disturb you anyhow at all. It's better than silent mode. So just go there. All of your pending questions will still await you when you come back from DND. Because you will still have those balloons. So when you entered the DND mode, for example, you had like 5 unread messages everywhere. After leaving the DND mode, you have already 40 unread messages. So definitely there is a backlog of things to look at. But at least you had your 1 hour of free time to really focus on work.
For sure. So it's really you just gotta set everything else aside and really just make it to where you can only focus on that. For sure.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about some of the challenges that come with working remote, but would you say there are any benefits, anything that you've seen that you've actually improved in this area due to being working from home?
Well, definitely, I can have breaks whenever I want. Because if I feel hungry or I want to exercise, I have some training thing over here. I can do that. And I also can wear whether whatever this word is, it's hard for me to pronounce. I want to wear red socks, for example, today, or a sweater or something. Nobody stops me from doing that. So I have the freedom of choosing the clothes, and I can be at any place. I can work from home. I can work from a hotel, from cafe or restaurant or some other place. I can even travel abroad. Maybe not right now, but it used to happen in the past before COVID. Like I would go to Thailand or some other warm place and just work from there. And I know some people are still doing that, sneakily moving out of their countries. So yeah, it gives you a lot of flexibility. And with power, obviously, there comes responsibility. So you have to use this power responsibly. If you are at some hot place, you should not sit at I don't know at the beach and to drink beer and just have a laptop on your or on your laps and kind of work. It doesn't work like that. If you are at some shiny place, do your work, and then you can have some time for swimming or exercising or just walking. Don't work from the beach. It's not the best option.
So definitely, do you know this from experience or just a tip?
Definitely.
Okay.
I tried it. Doesn't work.
Good tip. Good tip. So don't want to hold you too long getting to our last question, but are there any other general tips and tricks or just advice that you want to give
Mhm.
someone who is working from home for the first time? This is their first role and they really want to be successful.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say that those tips which I mentioned are definitely like a super handy, most immediate things to take into account. But there are some more abstract things to worry about. They are applicable to office workers as well, but remote ones have to care about them much more. The first one is visibility. So someone needs to know what you are working on. And those someones are your team members, your boss, the boss of the boss, the other people from different teams you work with. So you should be visible because you have no luxury of meeting those guys at the office. You have no luxury talking to them near the water cooler or the dining table. So you have to somehow uh, provide your updates, show that you are still there, you are still available. So you have to respond to them if they talk to you. You have to also engage with them in the first hand. So you should be initiative. So you should be visible. And second thing is expectations. So you may have some expectations of what you need to accomplish as a part of your job description. Your bosses may have different expectations. It's very, very important to align on those expectations. If you think that you are just a developer who has to be over here to code whatever 500 lines of code every day and then close teams and don't do anything else, that's probably not the right expectations. Probably bosses expect something else. So if production breaks, it would be better to help fixing that. You also are not expected to only code, but also to work with QA people, help writing auto tests, doing unit tests, help other people review their code, participate in various discussions, do brainstormings, come up with some architecture, and also be involved in infrastructure things such as where things are deployed, how they are deployed. So we expect developers to not only be developers, but also be real. Let's call this a popular word, but don't really quote me on that. Uh, multi-purpose Swiss Army knives, so that you can do multiple things. And maybe you don't know all of that. Maybe you don't know infrastructure things, but you will know them. Just try to do something there, try to talk to people, or maybe try to do some tasks in this topic, and you will get more knowledge. I kind of went sideways, but the idea is that you should really check what others are expecting from you. If it's really just coding this particular thing over here and not doing any other things, then yeah, fine, just go ahead and do that. But if there is no, let's say, strict focus on a particular bug or something right now, then in general, I would say that people expect more from you. So try to know what is that. Try to talk to people and align on expectations. And those were the two things. First is visibility. Second is matching expectations. And the third one, which is a bit counterintuitive, is ability to say no. Because people don't really see you. They don't know what you are doing. Maybe you are all sweaty and you are typing like crazy, and they just don't see you. they think that you are perfectly fine and that maybe you can take a couple more tasks on your shoulders. So they will just ping you and say, hey, can you also do this? And it will be hard for you to say no. So you will say, okay, I may do that. And now you are even more sweaty. So just try to say no from time to time. And it doesn't mean that you have to say no forever to every request. No, definitely no. But from time to time, you should do that because we need you to not burn down, to be able to achieve your tasks with maximum efficiency. So sometimes you have to say no, and that's it. Those are the three things. Maybe there are some other great things to mention, but I think we are already running out of time.
Yes. No, that was an excellent place to end for today. So thank you so much for being here, Sergey. You gave some great tips that I'm going to note myself. So I will see everybody on the next installment of our remote working series. Thank you.